Once upon a time, in a distant kingdom, there lived a young boy named Mahmud. From the moment he could talk, he made a promise to himself. He would never lie. His honesty became legendary, and soon, people from all over the land traveled just to hear his words. Even those who lived 20 days away knew about the boy who never lied. One day, the king of the land heard about Mahmud and became curious. A person who never lies, he thought. Impossible. Every man lies at least once in his life. To test Mahmud, he ordered his guards to bring him to the palace. As Mahmud stood before the king, the ruler asked with a smirk, "Is it true that you have never lied?" Mahmud nodded. "It is true, your majesty." The king raised an eyebrow. "And will you never lie for the rest of your life?" Mahmud smiled. "I am sure of that." The king leaned forward. "Be careful, young one. Lies are cunning. They slip onto the tongue before you even notice." Mahmud simply bowed in respect. Days passed, and the king grew restless. He wanted to trap Mahmud in a lie. One morning, as the king was about to leave for a hunting trip, he called Mahmud before him. A huge crowd gathered to watch, curious about what would happen. The king stood beside his horse, one foot in the stirrup, and ordered, "Go to my summer palace and tell the queen that I will be having lunch with her. Tell her to prepare a grand feast. You will dine with me there as my guest." Mahmud bowed and left for the queen's palace. But the king chuckled, whispering to his men, "We will not go hunting. Instead, we will stay here. Let's see how Mahmud lies when the queen asks him." When Mahmud arrived at the summer palace, the queen welcomed him warmly. "Why are you here, Mahmud?" she asked. "The king has sent me with a message," he said. "Maybe you should prepare a grand feast, and maybe you shouldn't. Maybe the king will come by noon, and maybe he won't." The queen frowned. "What do you mean? Is the king coming or not?" Mahmud calmly replied, "I do not know. When I left, the king had one foot in the stirrup, but whether he placed the other foot on the saddle or back on the ground, I cannot say." The queen smiled, understanding his wisdom. The next day, the king arrived at the summer palace. "Aha! Mahmud, you have lied!" he declared. But the queen shook her head. "No, your majesty. Mahmud told me exactly what he saw. He did not claim you were coming for certain. He did not lie." The king was silent for a moment. Then he laughed heartily. "Indeed, Mahmud never lies," he admitted. From that day forward, the king respected Mahmud greatly and made him his royal advisor. The people of the kingdom learned a powerful lesson. Truth always finds a way, and honesty is the greatest strength of all.